My name is Jonathan Gilliam, and this is the Independence Day episode of The Experts. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Experts. I'm Jonathan Gilliam. I want to talk to you real quickly. I know you're on your holidays. Everybody's waiting for the 4th of July fireworks. It's literally right now 7 p.m. on 4th of July 2016. And I want to talk to you real quickly about what Independence Day is and the biggest threat that we are facing right now in this country. Independence Day, normally referred to by most people as the 4th of July, is about as understood as the Constitution itself. People need to realize where our founding fathers fled from and why they fled. They fled from Europe, which was controlled at that point in time by a monarchy that did not give them the religious freedom that they wanted, did not give them the rights that God granted to them, and by and large controlled everything that they did. If you were not aristocratic in that day and age, you had only the life that you were allowed to have by this monarch. Now, here's what I want you to compare and contrast that to. Our founding fathers came over here and started this great country in a way by writing the Constitution and declaring their independence from that monarch. They came over here so that you and your children and the children after them could have the independence that they sought to have for so long. Freedom of speech, freedom to defend yourself, freedom to remove a government when that government overstepped its boundaries. Here's what we face more than any threat today is another monarchy, but this time it's not a monarchy that sits on a throne. It's a monarchy called socialism. And the global elitists that rule this world are coming together and they do not care about your freedoms. Very similarly to the monarch that we fled, that our founding fathers fled when they declared their independence here in this country, we are facing the exact same thing. And many in this country choose or are choosing to go back to that, to go back to following, being told what we should do and being dependent on an authority over us other than God Himself. Now I want you to think about that. The global elitists, whereas you and I largely have friends where we're from, we choose to be nationalistic because we understand the country in which we live, and most of your friends are local. Global elitists, their friends, their families are spread out all over the world. They don't understand nationalism like we understand it. They don't subscribe to the American way of life the way you and I subscribe to it, because what they subscribe to is a global community. Barack Obama has said it himself, the Clintons have said it, and all these different high-level wealthy individuals that start subscribing to the global elitist mentality. Whereas you may go eat dinner across town, they'll get in their private jet and fly around the world and associate with people that they know. So the way they look at the world is that it's one great community and they're at the top. And they have the choice and the only choice in the way that you should live your life. You need to realize this on this important Independence Day, because this, unlike any other since our founding fathers declared the first day of independence in 1776, this day, today, we are closer to being controlled by a monarchy, and we are closer to our citizenry giving over their freedoms to those monarchies, the global elitists, than any other time in our history. Consider that. Sit back and let that run over you as you watch the fireworks tonight, as you sit free to drink the beer that you want to drink, to eat the food that you want to eat, and to associate with the people that you want to associate with. Now watch the media as well. The media is the mouthpiece for these global elitists, because the people that run these media organizations are also global elitists. As you can see, that's being reported on TV, sources, quote unquote, sources are saying that Hillary Clinton is probably not going to be charged because evidence hasn't been found to charge her. I can tell you right now that's a bunch of baloney. I have sources as well, and I used to be an FBI agent, and they are furious because of the way the Department of Justice, not the FBI, the Department of Justice, which is basically an activist agency inside our government, full of ultra liberals. These ultra liberals that exist within the Department of Justice, they do not care about your way of life. They, like so many socialist-minded people, think that their way is the only way and that whatever you want is wrong. They don't believe in your freedom of speech. They believe in what they want to say only. And we can clearly see this elitist, globalist mentality when we look at the Attorney General and the way that she met with Bill Clinton on the tarmac, and they had their meetings. Bill Clinton, who was the president, is no longer the president, does not fall under any special laws as far as I know in the Constitution, because he was president, that he can't be charged with the crime. The same thing with Hillary Clinton. You need to think about this, people. Hillary Clinton does not hold an office right now. She is just a civilian. So why is she getting special protection under the law for doing criminal acts? Why does the Attorney General get a pass when she does something that is so blatantly wrong against her job description that she's not immediately fired for what she did? A prosecuting attorney that did the same thing in any other city would be fired. For ruining a high-level case like that or putting it in jeopardy, gone. But it shows you that they live by a separate set of rules, that they don't care about the rules that bind you as a citizen, the rules that guide you and guard this country and its national security. They don't care about those. Those rules are not for them as far as they're concerned. And by and large, they're right, because the American people will not stand up and say enough is enough. So I'm going to leave you with this. For those global elitists and for the rest of the citizenry out there, I've lost faith in all of you, because the global elitists, they don't care about what's best for you and I. They just want whatever they think is right, whatever fits in their narrative. So we can't trust them or count on them at all. Our government has failed, and it's proven by the criminal things that they do on a daily basis and the lack of results that they come up with to effectively fight things like Islamic terror, when they won't even name the real enemy, which is fundamental Islam. That's a whole nother story. We'll get to that later. But you, the American citizenry, I've lost faith in you, because you will not stand up and air your opinions. You'd rather sit around the table, you'd rather sit on your couches and be comfortable and groan and grumble. There's only going to be one way this is fixed: if the American people come together. But the only way that you're going to come together is if something happens. Our American citizenry is now like the airline industry. You just wait for something to happen before you act. It's going to be too late, folks. My good friend who was in Poland when it turned communist overnight, they shut all the phones off and turned communist. They used the laws that they had slowly been putting in place to take over the country and declare martial law. And they took over and they went and got over 60,000 people that had been doing things that they didn't agree with, and they put them in jail. My friend who came over to this country as a Navy SEAL, he was put in jail for several years because he had an illegal printer. Now think about that, folks. He was printing what they considered propaganda against their communist regime, but the reality is he was telling people the truth. So the truth under a regime like this can become illegal. So watch closely what happens with Hillary Clinton in the next few days, in the next few months, and know this: if she does not get charged, if she gets elected president, it's because you failed to do your job as a citizenry. You may not get the benefit of that shot heard around the world. This time, you may be the one that has to stand up and take charge. Just like Thomas Jefferson and the rest of our founding fathers planned for and put into the Constitution so that you would never be controlled by a monarchy again. So I'm calling on the United States of America and its citizenry. Forget the government. I'm calling on the citizenry. I'm calling on cops. I'm calling on firemen. I'm calling on doctors, nurses. I'm calling on the military and service members, veterans, former and active duty. Stand up for your independence. Don't let your freedoms be taken away from you. Now is the time. If you wait for another Independence Day, it may be too late and you may never get it. This is Jonathan Gilliam. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Experts. Happy Independence Day, and God bless the United States of America.